Good morning. Thank you so much for joining my session today on this beautiful morning. Thanks for being here in class and online. I will talk today about how technology must serve a purpose for the schools, and I will also tell you a little bit about my story. My name is Melanie Schneider, and I'm originally from Switzerland, but live in Iceland. And as a matter of fact, yesterday was the first day for about 2 months that I've seen the sun. So I'm very, very happy to be here in beautiful San Diego. I am a former teacher, I'm a business professional, but I'm also a mother and a learner for a lifetime. Today, I really want to talk about my story, how I came to where I am today, and also how much I feel that technology companies must do a better job in supporting teachers and learners in our schools. Because that is what we're here for at the end of the day. It is an extremely interesting summit in general, and yesterday I learned that a teacher here in his career needs to learn 86 different technologies in average. I was really shocked. As nice as it is to see and learn new technologies, I still think it's way too much, and I really want to do everything possible to make a better job here at Beedle. Because I really think teachers should have more time to focus on their main and basic jobs. Being there for the kids, supporting them, being a coach for them, and helping them learning. And they really should not need to have so much of their time going into learning different technologies. As I said before, I started my career as a teacher in Switzerland, and I was 10 years long on the road with my students. I did stop being a teacher, and that out of 3 main reasons. And that's what I want a little bit to talk about to you today, because this is at the end of the day what brought me here. First of all, when I started my school day, I needed to log into 8 different systems on a daily basis. And I'm not talking about the ones I needed to do once at the end of the year or at the end of the term. It is really the systems I needed are used every day. There was one system for keeping attendance. There was another system to communicate with the parents. Then there was a third system where we did all our end-of-term reporting, and another system where we stored all the files and so on. It was a nightmare. And for me, it really was a thing I could not live with. I was always thinking, why are we living in a modern world when I need to do or learn 8 different technologies and work with them? I'm in a classroom. I see all the students waiting and looking at me, and I need to say, sorry, I need the first 10 minutes to just log in and make everything ready to do my job in here. That was something that really bothered me a lot. And I think, how can this be possible in such a modern world? So that was one of the major problems. Then another one, I needed so much time to do the admin work. We are talking about, writing reports. I needed sometimes to write things 2 times because it was already existing in one system, but I could not extract the data, so I needed to put it into the other system to do the work. So I would have liked so much more to spend my time in really teaching. But I was stuck doing a lot of things around that. So I would say 30% of my time went into things that weren't really needed. We called it in Switzerland, or at least in my school, the classroom door didactics, because or something like that, because sometimes I did not really have time to prepare my lesson. So literally, when I opened the door to my classroom, I started to think, what will I teach today? So this is not really a good way of teaching. I'm quite sure the students would get much more out of it if I would actually have time to prepare the lessons. And I think you all agree. So I really thought this needs to change. I want to be there for my students, and I want to do a good job as my teacher, but I simply could not fulfill all the tasks, the admin tasks I was asked to do. The last point has not so much to do with the systems, but I really had the feeling that I need to entertain the students every single minute of the day. When we're talking about motivation, students want to learn, they need to see the sense and be motivated for my content. And to be very honest, fractions or Pythagoras, they aren't really catchy. So I really felt like I needed to make everything nice for the students. And I really didn't understand, because today there's so many things that could do, this or help me supporting in being more entertaining. And I just never had access to them. I don't think I particularly did a horrible job, but I still think when we talk about the trend of, having games or gamification or just, online material that is more catchy in the lessons, I think there are just some additional incentives or some additional things that can motivate the students much better than just a single teacher standing there and praise something. So that were the three things that made me change my mind. And they also made me change my career because I like to do things and I like to be active. And if something bothers me, I really want to change it. So I was thinking, let's do something about this. First of all, which was maybe the cleverest thing I did, I took over the IT department of my school. So I told the headmaster, give me all the IT stuff and I will take care of this and make everything better. So I was taking care of the timetabling and the LMS system and, the SS integration and everything, you name it, I did it. But this did not turn out so well because I tried to get in contact, sometimes with the ones providing the systems. I tried to call them and ask them, like, why do you need to do it this way? And why could I not have this and that easier? I mean, why does it need to be so hard to really work with this? And I never got an answer. They never listened, or I couldn't even talk to, the right persons there. They just said, we have done it always like this, so it will be good enough for you too. So I kind of gave up on that. And it took me a lot of time to figuring out what else I could do. And I really didn't enjoy teaching as much as I did in the beginning. So I started to study business IT. I thought I would just switch over to the other side of the table. And that is what brought me here today. Before I started my work with Beedle, I was working in a very old and traditional LMS system that was very famous in the north. We did all the beautiful stuff. We had everything in one system. We had attendance, we had gradings, we had an SAS integration. We had everything in one place and even a Guardian app for the parents at home. So one system covering it all. But the problem was that we won a very big tender with 120 schools. They were all K-12 schools, and every single teacher of this 120 schools needed to work with the one and same system. So you had kindergarten teachers, you had secondary education teachers, and they all wanted to work with this one and only solution. We started a pilot with 120 schools. We took over 2 schools for each 2 school types, so at least we had a decent pilot with 6 classes. And the outcome of that pilot was about 250 new requirements. They were all different. And they all thought they were equally important. So we had teachers that were saying, I want to see when the kids go to sleep in the kindergarten, or vocational teachers that say, I want to generate an email that goes out to the trainers of the teachers. So there were very, very many different requirements. And as a matter of fact, in the end, one solution covering it all and every school type, that's something that's really hard to do. And I have not seen the perfect solution yet. So, and then we also needed to have a local integration into the SS and MIS system. Only, being available in 3 countries really, really meant a lot of work for us with providing the APIs for all the system. And we always got the same feedback at the end of the day. It was always, it's too rigid, it's not flexible enough, I cannot work with it, I just don't like it, And I really didn't feel good teaching the teachers how to use a solution to be successful in their daily teaching. I rather wanted to build something that supports them. So after about 7 years working with this traditional LMS, I figured out that's also not the way to go. And we learned that, actually that's not only a problem of the, of that schools or the 120 schools I was working with. That's basically, it's a problem in very many schools today, is that the traditional learning management systems, they are kind of coming to an end of their life cycle. We see that a lot of schools are working with outdated and disconnected systems. We really see that a lot of schools are doing some things twice, one in one system and then another. There's a lot of duplicate functionality. When we talk about schools, the biggest pains we see today is that they really have a lot of disconnected systems that are here and there. And then they also need to make sure they are secure. And that's another thing they need to be taken care of. So it's a lot of responsibility and a lot of work for the IT department and the principal at schools. Then for the teachers, I've covered the pain before, but also since the whole pandemic started and hybrid teaching is basically the default today, it's really hard to ace this hybrid teaching. It is not so easy. I really have high respect for teachers all around the world today, and I don't know how I dealt with all of this because that's a hell lot of work. And also in Switzerland, it was very, very trendy to do personalized teaching. So every student would be on his own learning path. And how do you do that when you have 25 students in a class? It is really hard to cover all the needs of the single students. For the students themselves, they're often not engaged if you are just one of 25. And I have also had meetings with schools that were really much afraid that students won't come back after the COVID time because they figured out that they could learn so much better when they were alone at home. So a lot of students are really missing the personalization and just, the support they get on their own learning path. Not every student is at the same level. So it is also a challenge for them and for the parents. They often don't know what the children are doing at home. So that's the other path, How shall they support the children at home when they have no idea what's going on at schools? That is something that we really focus a lot on Beedle, just letting the parents be a part of the whole ecosystem of the school. So what we did, we set everything on one cart, and we were looking for a big company that is able to combine everything into one hub. So it's all in one place, but with the flexibility to choose the different functionality for different school times, for different teaching styles. So it basically supports the individual types of humans and infrastructures. We chose Microsoft because we learned a lot of schools are working with Teams and they really, really like it. So they're all very, very happy with the collaboration and communication platform they're using. And we thought there's no need to have a standalone solution that tries to meet all the different needs. Beedle, as you can see here, enhances the functionality with additional pedagogical features that are missing. And we work intensively with advisory schools and ask them very frequently, what are you missing? What would you like to do in Teams? What is the biggest pain? What is working really well? And what can we do better? And that way we make sure that our technology serves the right purpose because we started to listen. So I don't want to be this teacher again that calls the companies up and asks them why certain things are the way they are. And they tell me how to work in their solution so I can do my daily job. I really want to be the company that's listening to the schools and that is able to save the teacher some time and make their life easier for them. So we have built our product in Teams and it doesn't exist anywhere else. We have a class list where you can see a simple overview of the students, where you can take attendance in class and you can quickly see who is attending and mark them. And the nicest thing is that this is directly connected to the Guardian app. So the parents get the notification right away on their mobile phone and see in real time. So they say, oh, Miss Schneider has registered my child as absent. There is no need for teachers or parents to log into any other system anywhere. Teachers and students, they use Teams and the parents use the Guardian app. Then we have objectives, which is very important also to support the students with learning goals. So they know exactly what the current status is. Teachers can also assess the goals and perform formative assessment to really bring in more of the formative aspect into Teams. And our planning tool should help teachers and students to streamline their workflow and find all the different learning resources in one place. Teams is a massive system, and if Beedle can help bringing everything into one place, the students know exactly where to log in. They find everything much easier. And as you can see here, we have a lot on our roadmap. So we are not done for quite a while. Talking about big data, which is another very, very important topic. When we do everything in one system, you can also use the power of data that sits behind this one system. So if schools want to work with analytics, if they want to see how many students have been absent, for example, online and in class combined, if they want to learn which objective most of the students are struggling with currently, they need to be able to see all this data concentrated in one place. And with different systems, you will never get the whole picture. So that's what we really do here with our enhancement of what we are building in the future. It's a big advantage that speaks for, combining everything in one hub with the flexibility of using whatever meets your personal needs, really. And we also will build a communication a communication feature into Teams, so teachers can easily communicate with the parents. What Beedle serves for the teachers and the school is it provides a powerful education suite in MS Team, lots of pedagogical functionalities on top. And a big plus is also when you have everything leveraged in one system, it is installed very quickly. So Beedle is running within minutes. You don't need to import classes or we just everything. The Teams is doing well already and build on top. So schools don't need to spend a lot of money training the teachers, since we built it in a familiar environment. And if they know how to use Teams, they know how to use Beedle. One of the things I've learned from past experience, where we had a whole support team answering endless questions about functionality here and there. That means something isn't right, and the system can be very intuitive if you get that many calls. And it's also not very easily built if you look at all the questions that came into our support inbox. And as a matter of fact, since we started Beedle, we hardly ever have any support requests. Even with being more global, I think this shows us that we built it in a very intuitive way. So we hardly get any questions about how things work or where to find certain things. And good thing is also we don't even need to talk about security standards or modern technologies, since we live in the Microsoft environment and leverage their functionality. Beedle is built into a secure environment and everything is basically taken care of. We build a flexible system that makes it easy to adapt to challenging situations, execute hybrid teaching, and meet also the post-COVID requirements. For the students, I must be honest, there is still a lot of work to do. We really want to build Beedle more motivating and engage the students more. I know they love these little emojis or monsters that Microsoft has released, so we want to give them a voice also in our models so they can react on specific things. For example, telling the teachers that they're happy about the grade or angry about the comment in the diary. So what we really want to do is keeping the students, engaged and also give them a voice to react on certain things. We do already keep them up to date with announcements. So, for example, if there is a field trip tomorrow, we tell them to bring the hiking shoes. And of course, this is also visible for the guardians directly in the app. When we talk about the parents, we really let them be a part of the Microsoft Teams ecosystem. It is all about transparency, which is a big topic in a lot of schools that we talk to at the moment. So we take the parents and make them a part of the Microsoft ecosystem. It is all about transparency, and this is a big topic with a lot of schools at the moment. We want to involve them in a very secure way and just give them really, or let them be more a part of the schools, and as also a part of support or a coach for their child's learning path in school. Yeah, what makes us different? It is the way we built. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we haven't met any other company so far that builds the way we do. All the other solutions we've met on our ways are standalone programs that integrate with Teams, but we never met somebody that builds on top like we do. We think it's a much better user experience if you don't have two systems and you need to decide which feature or which functionality to do in which system. And because we leverage all the valuable functionality, we basically just built the missing pieces on top, like Lego blocks here. How we sell. So Beedle can be purchased in the future through the Microsoft Marketplace. At the moment, it's free. You can just go and try it out and see how you like it. But in the future, it will be licensed with a SaaS model. Every teacher can purchase a license, or schools can decide to buy them in bulk. And we will also sell Beedle through our partners, which we think is the much more important channel, because the most of the time we have learned that the schools really like the personal relationship with local partners. So this can be partners that provide licenses, resellers, or the ones that provide Teams training in the school. they are very, very trusted and loved. So we really want to hook into that relationship with the schools. Then it's because of who we are. We are from Iceland. We are very small. And we did something very disruptive before we came here to this event. We just took our pitch deck for this GSV summit and we showed it to our team. And everyone from designers over analysts and programmers, they all could give us feedback. So for us, it's very important that not only the schools and teachers have a saying in how we build the product and understand it, but also everyone that works for Beedle. Of course, it's a bit easier when you're a smaller company, but it's so nice to have the ones that sit behind the desks every day, knowing exactly why we're building the product and what we're building it for and why it is or needs to be the way it is today. And of course, it's not only beneficial that they feel their feedback is appreciated, but we also got a lot of valuable inputs actually that we took, and we adapted the slide deck quite a bit after our pitch to the team. The last thing I want to talk about is what I have been presenting this before. Is I'm very, very proud to talk to you today about Beedle. And whenever I talk to schools or teachers, I always have the same experience. They are extremely enthusiastic, which is basically what keeps me going every day. In the LMS company I worked before, I only heard about problem. Like, why can I not do it like this? So why is it done that way? That's stupid. I want to do it. I think this could be done easier. And now I get much more positive feedback along the lines like, oh, thank you, this really helps me and this makes my life so much easier. And this really is what makes my day and what keeps me going and motivated to do a great job every day. At the moment, we are seeing teachers from 87 countries using Beedle, which also shows that we succeeded in building a solution that is very flexible and international. We are available in 9 languages, which is a big advantage for international schools, for example. And also our app is available in these 9 languages. And it is more than 700 schools that trust in Beedle. And of course, a major part of these schools are our advisory schools. Here are a few of our advisory schools listed that we are in frequent contact with. And because the title of this session is that technology should serve a purpose, we better make sure that we talk to the right audience and we build something that is actually valuable and loved in the schools. I give you a little bit of time to read the statements here. So this is how we work with the schools today. When we're talking to our advisory schools, we offer that they can have a say in the development. Of course, they cannot call our programmers personally and have a private wish list, but we are gathering the feedback and adapting our roadmap. We're prioritizing them. We're going back to them with questions. So we really adapt our roadmap accordingly to what they're saying. Then they can also see what we're building beforehand. They can directly talk to us and get a direct support. And we also do a lot of demos and trainings for our school. It's really important for us to understand how they are using Beedle. And, we want to show them some best practice, tell them about other schools that are using our modules. So it's really a frequent, interaction with these schools. And they, for example, when they ask about how to integrate the students with special needs, or, we're talking to so many schools, there's always somebody that has done this before. So it's very great to exchange these best practices. What they get in exchange is that they can give us feedback, which of course has an impact on the further development. When we release something earlier, they can have a test version and give us, and tell us how they like it. It's also great feedback if what we are releasing is actually valuable for them beforehand. They can see the first mock-ups of a new development. This is always the call they like the most when they see the new models firsthand. Oh, well, this is how the dashboard will look like, and this is how we'll communicate with the parents. And what's very interesting for us, of course, is that everything they are missing in Teams, because that's at the end of the day what we try to build. Stuff that they cannot do on a daily basis already with the system. So what do they like more? yeah, we really let them be part of our pre-development, a very, very valuable part. So when talking about everything I have been mentioning today, and when working at Beedle, I often ask myself, are now all the problems we had as a teacher solved? No, Beedle doesn't solve all the problem, not yet, at least. But we see a very, very bright future for Beedle. Beedle is fairly new. I mean, we launched it 2 years ago, but we have so many good ideas and we get so many great opportunities and good talks. A lot of things are waiting for us. For example, we were at BET 2 weeks ago in London, and there were so many interesting conversations we had. And here you can see just a few ideas. One of it is Minecraft. There are a lot of teachers, and it's a huge interest of schools and curious to try out Minecraft, but there seems still to be a big hurdle because teachers don't really know enough and they are afraid. They're not that tech savvy. The students, they are maybe more advanced in gaming than they are. So what we could do with Beedle is just provide a structured lesson plan where teachers can find introduction videos, where we can, connect the learning goals and just give them a guidance of how to best approach Minecraft. And that would solve the pain, at least the one I had always, being an entertainer. And since there are so great solutions out there that could make my life a bit easier, of not always, needing to make everything catchy, this could be very interesting for the children. What we also see is that younger kids really, really love animations and emojis. And I even sometimes turn in the fake assignments in my team's environment only to see the unicorn jumping or, some animation there. So we see a lot of opportunities to build a Beedle for the younger generation with a lot of animations and more engaging functionality. We could build something much more interesting for them, for example. One interesting part is the whole content management and sharing. When we talk about sharing resources between schools, for example, so imagine there would be a small school in Iceland, in Seyðisfjörður, that would like to share things with another school in Guatemala, maybe. Thinking of a big opportunity of having a massive, international library, an open library in Microsoft Teams through Beedle, that would just be amazing. They could also share best practice of how they use Teams or even Beedle. So that would be really, really nice. And the other thing is that we got a lot of publishers interested in Beedle. A lot of publishers, they look out for a stable infrastructure just to get their content into Teams. So there are a lot of things to do for us, as you can see here, and it will definitely not get boring in the future. One thing I want to mention here, when talking to the schools and wanting to show them the new technology, I know that Beedle would solve a lot of problems they're facing, but we often hear, we just don't have the time at the moment. We have so much to do. And I hear this a lot. And, don't get me wrong, I totally get it. I was there myself. And I always think, looking back, choosing the technology wisely and really take time and just take a step back and put an effort in it, searching for the right tools to support teaching and learning. It is a very great investment because you will always get the time back at the end. So it's really, really worth to look into your processes, your technologies, and really think about what you're using on a daily basis. Yes, so I'm coming to an end. I'm representing the Beedle team today, but I have with me Eloise, our great CMO, and Guðmundur, our very trustworthy CTO. So if you have any technical questions, please don't ask me, but you can always contact Guðmundur. And for marketing-related questions, Eloise is the right one to talk to.
And we have about 10 minutes left, so I thought I will just open the round if there are any questions. And if not, I would just give you a little insight into how Beedle looks like in action. So for you as schools or teachers, it's very easy to find us. And that's one of the beauty of it. You just go to the Beedle App Store and you search for Beedle there, and then you just find us as a third-party app in Teams. just show you to prove that we're really there. So here, and then you need an admin consent. So one time the administrator need to consent to all the permissions that we need. And once this is done, every teacher can use Beedle in the whole school. So you basically, once this is done, just go into your team, click on the plus here, and then you will find Beedle again. And we also we have different tabs with different functionality, so you don't need to use everything. It's also often overwhelming for teachers when you do just everything at one step. So you could say, I just start with a class list where I have a random group selector, I have the attendance there and the diary. I want to start only with that. Then you just tell the teachers to go in there. Sorry, the internet is a bit slow. Yeah, here we have. So there's the class list with journal and attendance. That is one tab. If you're familiar with Teams, you know how this looks like. We have planning as another tab, and then we have assessment. So it's really as easy as that, and you can decide with your teachers what you want to start with or what they want to use. I'm showing you here the planning module. So this is just an easy way of getting and streamlining all the resources in one place. Again, maybe mentioning that the students see exactly the same view. And you as a teacher, you can decide which documents you want to share. So this is really just a library or a resource management. You put in a PowerPoint you want to show this day. So this is my introduction week in congruent shapes. I want to maybe show a PowerPoint. I want to give them some online material that you can learn a little bit about this congruent shapes. I might have my learning objectives. It's basically just a holistic bundle of what you can do with your planning. And one of the nice things is that it connects also to the Microsoft Teams assignments. So so you can basically have the assignments in here and you can link them. So you can show your students exactly which assignments are taken care of. Again, we don't do our own assignments. Teams does that just as well themselves. But we give the students a little bit a better overview of what's taken care this week and what they need to do. And then on the objective thing is that we have a curriculum in the background and that you can set up. And then again, the whole school sees what curriculums you are working with or what curriculum statements, and you can define which objectives should be taken care of this week. So you can give the students a better feeling of what they need to learn in this week. And that the holistic bundle you can, and that's the beauty of it, just copy over to whatever team. So you could basically plan that with a math department and prepare everything. And as soon as it's ready, you just spread it down to all the math teams. Or next year, right? You have done a perfect planning, we all do. And then once it's done, it can be taken care to the next school or taken over to the next school year. So that is really, again, makes the teacher's life much, much easier to have this. Then on the class list, we have a way of doing groups. So you can just randomly create groups when you do group work, which we do a lot in Switzerland. And you can just randomly select the students and put them into groups. Or you have on the class list also a personal diary. So just notes you want to keep about the student. And there should be a little bit longer available than maybe just a chat. You know, chat is always gone, and it's terrible to find something again in the chat. So you can have a journal where you can just keep certain things. What we often do is also keep something and tag it with parents, so we can discuss this when the parents come to school. We can just go through the list and discuss what we want to do. So that would be the journal function, so you can create a comment. You can also make this right away available for the guardians, so they can see it in the app and they're a little bit up to speed what's going on in school. You can tag it really for long-term comments and things that you want to share with parents or discuss later on with parents. And then we have an attendance, and I'm losing a little bit of time, getting very emotional when I show this, so I could talk a long time about this, but it's really just bringing everything together in Teams and giving teachers a better way of streamlining their workflows and all of that. One big thing, and I have it here on my mobile phone, so if you are very interested to see how this looks from a parent side, it really is a very simple way of navigating through the things, so the parents, when a teacher gives them an assignment, can directly see it in their mobile phone what the student needs to take care of this week or what they need to hand in, and also for the attendance, of course. So if a teacher marks somebody here as absent, I take Ashley. Poor Ashley, she's always the one. say she's absent and give a comment and save it, then it goes directly over, gives a notification to the mobile phone, and the parent sees it right away. Thank you, Alice. Yeah, wonderful. Okay. So that's really what we do. The assessment part is the place where you store, because Microsoft already has the grades, or Teams already has a grades view, where they can just do points and grades on assignments. But what we do is we give them also just a way of doing a quick assessment. Like I've done a test. I don't want to put an assignment for that. I just really want to quickly want to put it on there. Or we can also do the formative assessment of the learning goal, where you can then grade them with just words. You have achieved that, or you're working towards it, so the students can see it and they just see what they've achieved or not. And talking about big data, I think that's a big thing. When we are doing analytics, it's really great for you to see at the end of the school year, where is the learning goal that most of my students struggle with. So you can, if you have a bit time left, really adjust your lessons to that, and maybe take this up again and maybe explain it again or find another approach to it. So it really makes your teaching better when you have this outcome, and we see where most students struggle. And this is also, of course, available over all the teams. So a headmaster could go there and see like where is the topic that most students struggle with overall, and we can maybe do a specific week for Pythagoras way or something. So it's really it gives a much better insight, and also a much better way to react on and really react on the pupils' needs. So that is, yeah.
Thank you so much for joining my session today and for being here with me in class and online. Thank you, Microsoft, for giving me the opportunity to speak today. And yes, we are very, very excited to see you soon at the event, or maybe as a future Beedle customer. Goodbye.